Welcome to TV9 News. This is your host, Jasper Red. In recent events, Hawaii has just passed a law which legalized same-sex marriage, making it the 16th state in the USA to change their ruling on gay marriage. Today on What You Need to Know, we will be exploring the many different viewpoints and political positions of gay marriage, specifically focusing on whether or not the decision should be made within the state or be made federally. Now let's go to Scarlet Sunshine for a background on the topic.
Hello, and I'm Scarlet Sunshine. As many of you may know, recently in our society, one of the big controversial subjects is gay marriage. Although many people are becoming more accepting of this, it is still an issue at large. There are many arguments on whether or not it should be legal, but that isn't what I'm here to talk to you about today. TV9 News is covering two different opinions. Should the states make the decisions, or should the entire country? Now, in 1996, our government signed into law what is widely known as DOMA, or the Defense of Marriage Act. DOMA has defined marriage as a union between one man and one woman for all federal purposes, meaning that the federal government does not recognize same-sex marriages for any legal purpose. This means that couples in same-sex marriages are kept from receiving the benefits that straight people would receive. DOMA also gives states the ability to refuse to recognize same-sex marriages, including those that have been legalized in other states. Recently, the U.S. Supreme Court took down Section 3 of DOMA. Section 3 of DOMA is the part that prevented the federal government from recognizing any marriage between gay or lesbian couples for the purpose of federal laws or programs, even if those couples are considered legally married by their home state. They took down Section 3 of DOMA because it violated the Constitution's Equal Protection Promise. Although they have changed it, the Supreme Court case did not challenge Section 2 of DOMA, which states that all states and territories have the right to deny recognition of the marriage of same-sex couples that originated in states where they are legally accepted, which means that in each state, it still has the ability to declare any marriage not between a man and a woman null in that particular state, which, if you ask me, seems a little bit unfair.
Yes, Scarlett, you have a point. It is extremely unfair to same-sex couples in the United States because they do not have the same rights as straight couples. This is why I believe that the laws deciding same-sex marriage should be decided by the federal government rather than the states alone. If the decision is made on the federal level, everyone in the United States would be equally protected under the Constitution, and no one would be discriminated against based on their sexual orientation.
But Jasper, what if the federal government rules against same-sex marriage?
In all honesty, even if the government rules against same-sex marriage, it will still be one set law over the entire United States. The main word there, Scarlett, is united. When we have many different states with separate views on the issue, it becomes more blown out of proportion than it really is. Yes, gay marriage is an important issue, but there are other issues that are more demanding of the government's time and efforts at this point.
You have a valid point, Jasper. However, is it possible that we could have each state be able to assert their own power without demanding the rest of the states to follow along? I understand that we do not want any sort of a repeat of the Articles of Confederation, but perhaps allowing each state to have its own say is the right path. This could give more of a chance to homosexual couples to have states rule in their favor. Like you said earlier, Hawaii has made news as the 16th state in this country to legally recognize marriages between gay and lesbian couples. Leaving the decision to the states individually has worked in some cases, but I do have some examples of some that have not worked. In New York, many homosexual couples had higher taxes for nothing other than simply being in relationships with someone of the same gender. According to the governor of New York, in one case, a woman ended up paying $363,000 in estate taxes due to her sexual orientation. She, however, was refunded this amount in the DOMA case, the United States versus Windsor, when Section 3 of DOMA was declared unconstitutional.
Yes, Scarlett. Another case that caught my eye was one in Pennsylvania, where an elderly man adopted his partner to avoid inheritance taxes. John Francis adopted his partner Gregory in order to avoid a 15% tax on his Pennsylvania estate after he passed. After the adoption, all Gregory had to do was include his estate in his will to John. This would reduce the tax to 4%, which is a very large difference. The fact that people need to resort to adopting their partners is very shocking.
Yes, Jasper, you are right. Whether the state or the federal government ends up being the decision maker, it is obvious that a clear and concise decision must be made sooner or later. Now, TV9 News isn't here to tell you what to think, only to educate you on the different options that are out there. Sooner or later, though, you are going to be the ones voting on issues such as this and deciding the future of the United States. Well, that's it for the show. We hope you enjoyed watching. Tune in next week for a special episode with Jacob. Previews coming up next.
Look at all this! Oh my gosh, what is she thinking? Tune in next week for another episode of Snooki Wolf. What?
My mama told me when I was young, we're almost superstars. She combed my hair and put my lipstick on in the glass of her boudoir. There's nothing wrong with loving who you are, she said, 'cause he made you perfect, babe. So hold your head up, girl, and you'll go far. Listen to me when I say, I wouldn't fall in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way.
Were you filming that? Oh, you were watching.
You make really funny faces.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Let me just stop recording. Here we see a Jacob in his natural habitat. Hello, and I'm Scarlet Sunshine. As many of you may know, gay marriage is...
Yes, Scarlett, I agree completely. It is very unfair to the same-sex couples in the United States because they do not have the same sex. Did you say go yet?
Yes.
Oh.